So I think the big question right now is, are we embracing AI or are we risking our business's future by not taking advantage of the AI and artificial intelligence tools that are at our fingertips, right? So we are with Charles Craggett with New Wave Media, and we want to just bring him in, introduce him to everybody, and talk about what we are going to be doing here at Icon Cowork in January.
Okay.
So you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, Charles?
Yeah. I'm Charles. I'm with New Wave Media, a digital marketing artificial intelligence agency. So what that means is we're looking for business owners that are trying to scale themselves up, go to the next level, and they need help with their marketing. But the backside of marketing is that once you start getting leads in, how do you manage all those new people?
Right.
That's the biggest issue. So we put AI systems in place that make it easier to manage that workflow, communicate with more people, and just ultimately make it to where a person is able to just show up and do the deal, show up and give an estimate, show up and do the thing that they need to do. You can focus more on driving sales, driving revenue, and less on the day-to-day tasks of prospecting.
Okay, so I think that's the biggest thing. Like, a lot of people think that artificial intelligence is going to take our job. And one of my favorite quotes from someone else in artificial intelligence is that it's not going to take our job, but it's the person that's not using artificial intelligence is the one that's going to be without a job or going to be out of the industry that they're in.
You're
And
on
I
the
know
right track.
that, of course, I'm in real estate, but you're branching this to many different businesses.
Yes.
So how have you seen this benefit other businesses as far as taking that control? Because, at some point the human has to come into the picture.
Exactly. So what a lot of people don't realize is that AI doesn't create anything, right? It uses past data and predictions based on that past data in order to do the things that it needs to do, right? So with that being said, there's always going to be a need for the humans to work the AI. So with that being said, it's not so much that AI is going to take your job, it's going to restructure how you do it on a day-to-day basis. Whereas before, you maybe were just saying, oh, I have to send a text message, write an email, do this, do that. Instead, I told my AI a month ago, hey, on the 5th day of every month, you send out this newsletter for me.
That's amazing. I know firsthand how long it takes to do
Yes.
those. And even like this time of year, I'm like, I'm going to get ahead of it. I'm going to send everyone a Christmas email or a New Year, Happy New Year's notification. I never do it. And then, of course, on Christmas Day, that's the last thing I want to do is actually send those emails,
Send
right?
those emails out, right? So you can actually tell the AI, hey, listen, on this day or at this time, at this, do this or do that. And it now knows, hey, okay, every day, every month, on the 1st of the month, I'm supposed to do A, B, and C task.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about a person being sick. You don't have to worry about your best receptionist coming in. She had a fight with her boyfriend or something like that on the way in, and she's off, and she missed the emails and the text messages and things like that. No, you let the computer handle the little trivial stuff, and then the humans get to focus on the things that really matter, which is driving sales and revenue. And outside of real estate, where we've had a lot of success with our systems is actually home services businesses.
Okay.
So places like window companies, roofers, remodelers, because these are ladies and gentlemen that they work with their hands, right?
Right.
That
They're not working
they
the
don't
computer.
they don't have time to sit on the computer. Oh, let me post this ad. Let me click this. Let me make this graphic. Let me follow up with all these people. Let me make a website, et cetera, et cetera. So what we do is we would put a system inside of their business that says, hey, we're going to bring in leads for you. We're going to collect all of their data. If they're interested in some sort of service for you, we're going to collect all the information about the project in advance, and then all of that is going to get shot right over to the business owner so that when he makes that phone call, he has everything that he needs to know about the project that this person wants to have done. And you and me both being in sales, we know more information can be power.
Right. Yeah.
So the more information that we're able to get from a person using AI to where you're only talking to the people who genuinely want to talk to you, that's what matters the most.
Right, because we know when we do our mass marketing or anything, it's very few that are going to actually convert, and it takes a lot of time, a lot of man hours.
You need to send thousands of texts and thousands of emails.
And continue to work that exact same list. And it's like, to continue to do that, to not see an immediate reward or immediate lead come through, I mean, that's a lot. And you, like you said, the newsletters, you could even have AI creating those newsletters and websites and things like that for you with your little touches and tweaks. And, you want to make it your own and not look like the rest of them that AI might be creating.
And I think the other side too is a lot of people, they've heard of ChatGPT and things like that. ChatGPT is just the one that's most available. There are much better prompting apps and things like that. And also, it's a matter of what you tell the AI to do. If you just say, hey, write me a blog, it's going to write the most generic, boring blog of all time. How young are you?
I am going to be 30 this year.
Okay. All right. So instead, you would prompt the AI and you would say, write me a blog from the perspective of a 30-year-old real estate agent living in Cleveland, Ohio. I have a bubbly personality.
Yeah.
I've been married. You basically describe who you are, create your brand voice inside of the prompt.
Yeah.
And then it'll create blogs based on that idea of like, oh, this is what a person like that might write, or this is what a person like that might be into, or might reference, or might say this, might say that.
Yeah, and I think, I've worked mine using ChatGPT quite a bit, but I have read things either that it's given me that I'm like, this does not sound like me at all, or I've seen people's posts. I saw someone put a new job description.
Who wrote this?
And, it was this job description with these words that like I've never even seen in my life, that like not an everyday person, I know this person, would ever use. I was like, oh, I think I sent it to Cass. I was like, she totally used ChatGPT to create this job description. But, so I think, sorry.
They said recently, Kanye West has been accused of using ChatGPT to write his apology to the Jewish community after insulting them.
Oh my God.
A lot of people are getting really lazy with this thing, truth be told.
Right.
But that's the thing, is that yes, it is very easy to notice if it was written with AI if you don't take the time to actually prompt the AI correctly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And see, that's where our business is so powerful, because we understand all of these different tools on a very intricate level.
Okay.
So when we go in there and you're not wasting time trying to learn all these different AI systems and how to work. Right. There's so many different pieces of software and trying to tie them all together and paying for all of them. And I got to take the file from this app to this app, tell this app to do this and this or that. No. Listen, we'll do it for you. We understand how this stuff works. We're going to use AI to create a digital version of you that's going to be running around all over the internet.
That's awesome.
Taking care of things.
Yeah. Yeah, because, we want to focus on money-generating activities, and that's the end of it. And it's so funny, because as I was saying, like, I've worked mine a little bit, but, like, not... Before we started the camera, we were talking about, like, my past with Harley Davidson. Well, I still am in that community. Like, we ride with friends and my husband and everything. But I never told, like, why would I ever tell ChatGPT that I ride motorcycles?
Yeah.
Like, I never used it for my past job, whatever. And it gave me a prompt, and it was, like, describing me. And it said, when I'm riding a motorcycle. And I was like, now how the heck? Like, I've never told it that. So it's just crazy how much it will eventually learn about you.
And see, the other side of it, too, is people don't understand just how powerful these algorithms are. Right. Most people have Netflixed and chilled, right? And they don't realize just how much AI is becoming a part of their day-to-day life. The reason why no two people's Netflix feed looks the same is because it's saying, oh, this is Andrea watching this.
Yeah.
Andrea doesn't want to watch a bunch of martial arts
Right.
movies like Charles does.
Yeah.
She maybe wants to watch something
Yeah.
else. So this is the stuff that Andrea likes based on everything that I've ever seen her watch. And this is the stuff that Charles likes based on everything that I've ever seen him watch.
And we've heard that word algorithm so much over the last few years, like with Facebook and Instagram and everything. And it's people don't truly understand how to work it. And like we said, it's way too much to learn between all of the different social medias and now artificial intelligence.
And selling.
Yeah, so trying to
And
do our
literally
job.
trying to do your
Oh,
job.
Yeah, that's how I actually get paid. Yeah, so what are you gonna? I know that a lot of our events here are real estate focused, but we are welcoming and bringing. We want to open this up to a lot of businesses because I think it truly is so important. I mean, I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My dad has a business right around the corner. My sister has her own business, and but they've always come to me because I'm the one that has the marketing background. They're like, "Can you do my marketing?" And I'm like, I also have a business, so I don't have time to do everybody's.
Right.
So I think that a lot of people could come and really benefit, and just whether they learn something that maybe they could do on their own, or if they see that there are services out there like yourself that could really take their business to the next level. I think it's something that is really powerful for going into the new year. I mean, I think we were really introduced to all of this and put in our faces in 2023. And I think 2024 can be a year that everybody, really future-proofs their business, like you said.
Yeah. I was jokingly talking with someone the other day, a potential client, and his concern was, I see all this AI stuff and I worry about the bad things that can happen with it. I worry about people getting scammed, or I worry about this, or I worry about that. And all of those concerns are 100% valid, but there's balance in everything, right? So there's always going to be the population of us humans that is going to take something good and go all the way left with it, right?
Right.
So if someone could potentially use this software to scam an old lady, we could probably use this software to sell a house to somebody who wants to build a family.
Yeah, and there's bad seeds everywhere.
Exactly.
It's like, someone just said, like, you can wear a mask all day, but then you could walk out of the building and get hit by a car. Like, there's gonna always be something, and so agree, totally. Like, I was just talking to my grandma about this on Christmas Day because someone did call her, and she kind of played into it, like, messing with them because she knew that it wasn't real
or legitimate.
So it's people need to be aware, but you also need to be aware how this can truly help you and change your life.
Yeah, because these systems are powerful. I mean, imagine being able to click a button and send 3,000 text messages all at once, or drop a voicemail on 150 different voicemails all at once. Make their phone ring to where they'll potentially see a missed call from you and call you back. These things are powerful, and they're very, I was telling you before we got on camera that I don't identify myself as a particularly great salesperson, but I use a lot of different marketing tactics to get in front of people, and one of those is just things like voicemail drops, where I can say, hey, I've got their phone number, I'm gonna drop a voicemail on their phone, it's gonna ring once or twice, it's gonna show that I called. If they never listen to the voicemail, they're gonna see they had a missed call from me, so they might just call me back, or they might listen to the voicemail.
Or read the voicemail,
get it on their text message. If you stay at the front of their mind, if they're constantly getting newsletters, text messages, things like that from Andrea every week, every month, every something, you're constantly touching them. By the time 6 months down the line, they're ready to make a decision. The first person they're going to reach out to is, oh, Andrea, she's been hitting me up this whole time.
Yep, exactly. And I talked to someone recently. I called them as a lead in my system. And they're like, oh, are you Andrea that's been sending me all the emails? And I didn't even know that I was sending them emails. But because of artificial intelligence and everything, all the tools that I have, as soon as they came in, it took their information, it realized what they're looking for, the areas they're searching for homes in, and the price range and everything, and it's just continuing to send them houses. So that when the human connection is made, they already kind of know who I am.
Exactly.
So, and that can be used in absolutely any business. Whether even if it's, say, you're too busy, you can't take anymore. Like some things that take manpower, you obviously can only take on so much business at a certain time. But just keeping that reputation, using artificial intelligence to get reviews and testimonials, and that's just going to future-proof your business.
And again, imagine automating that entire process. Imagine being able to say, okay, this person just moved from prospect to sold. I just sold them a house.
Right.
I moved them over to sold. It gets updated with all of their information. Their birthday is saved, and they immediately get a text message and email just saying, hey, leave me a Google review.
Right.
Just because you moved them 2 clicks to the left.
And we know how powerful Google reviews and presence on the internet is. And it's a
huge.
beast that
It's
a
huge.
lot of people, even when I was in college for marketing, I wasn't learning the digital marketing tactics.
Because it's new. It's also
still
relatively new.
Yeah, and then I was started in my marketing career, and I was like, oh, this is not what I learned in school. I mean, I think a lot of things you go to school for, you don't necessarily learn all the hard skills that you need. But it was over the years, and I'm like, this is a beast, and it's things that people don't want to or they don't have the time to learn. So having somebody that has the ability to do it for them is the way to go.
Yeah. You should always be thinking to yourself, how can I leverage talent to build my business?
Absolutely.
So leveraging our talents will give you that freedom and efficiency from the kind of day-to-day prospecting grind. Because I know, especially when you're a new agent, or even if you've been in it for a long time, if you've been an agent, I was in insurance, so I'm sure you can relate as far as realtors go. Once you've been in sales for about a year or two, you have so many leads that you don't know what to do with them. If you sat down with them and maybe printed them out, you'd have a stack of papers this high. Or if you tried to call them all, you'd be sitting in front of your phone for the next 2.5 days. Or if you tried to send a bunch of text messages, your hand would fall off. And all of that just takes you away from being out, having to network with people, having to show houses, having to go to closings and things like that. So we just take that off of your plate. That's ultimately what we aim to do for business owners, is take the marketing off of their plate and then take a lot of that sort of prospect communication off of that plate, so you can only talk to clients.
Yes, exactly. And it's once I know that me, for example, like once I'm in front of someone, like game over, like we're good. I know I'm very good at reading people and like not conforming, but like having that real conversation with them based on the kind of person that they are. So I think, but that's hard to do over email or text message or determine. So it's like getting through the weeds of who you want to talk to is super important.
And so using artificial intelligence like a filter is the way that I like to think about it, where when you're in sales, you're going to get so many people that are like, oh, I just wanted the free ebook. I never read it, but I just, it said free, so I filled out the thing, right? So a lot of people will never read your ebook. A lot of people will never actually buy a house from you, but they decided they wanted to communicate with you anyway. Okay, that's fine. You can continue to talk to the artificial intelligence. And the person who actually says, oh, wow, I got this email from Andrea. She's asking me what kind of home I'd be interested in. Let me fill out this form. Now, once I've filled out that form and you get it on the other side, you're like, oh, this is a serious client. This is somebody who's actually ready to make some moves because she's following the instructions that the AI is telling her to do. Hey, fill out this form. Hey, tell me more about what you'd like to have done. Tell me about this. Tell me about that. And by the time you get all that information and you get in front of them with your human touch, like you said, it's pretty much game over from there. You're good.
And I think even back to the initial communication, like a lot of people get into sales or real estate, whatever the case might be, because they think it's just going to be easy. And sometimes maybe it is if you have a good sphere of influence or whatever, but eventually you're going to need to make those phone calls. And a lot of people do not realize that in sales. And it takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of really sitting down and having that structure in your own life to do that. But then it also takes the skill. So if it's like, rather than calling 100 people myself, if I were to do something with artificial intelligence, and then those people who are actually interested are going to call me back. And
Exactly.
it just diminishes my time entirely.
Exactly. And you can spend more time networking. You can
Right.
spend more time at your showings going over things.
Yeah.
You can spend more time handling your closings, whatever it is that you need to do. Point is, to me, where a lot of people worry is they're like, oh, AI is going to take my job and everything like that. And in some ways, I'm like, I welcome it, because I believe that time freedom is the most important thing.
Right.
Money is important. Money is hugely important. Money is important. I didn't say it's not, but you can't really enjoy the money unless you have the time. And you
Right.
can't really enjoy the time unless you have the money. So it's kind of a
Right.
balancing act. But if you can utilize a little bit of your money to free up a huge chunk of your time by using AI, you definitely should, because how many low-level conversations is a salesperson in any industry
Right.
going to have on a day-to-day basis? How many tire kickers? How many people who are like, I might remodel my house, but I was thinking in 2026.
Yeah.
Why did you have me come out
Yeah.
here? You know, but I've
Absolutely.
been through that as
Yeah.
a salesperson. I've gone to people's houses to, again, I worked in insurance, to get them set up with the policy. Oh, well, can I start about 6 months from now? It's $100 a month. Why do
Yeah.
we need 6
Right,
months?
right.
We
Yeah.
need 6 months to
Yeah.
figure this out. And you could have told my artificial intelligence
Yeah,
that.
right, exactly. Yeah.
So, but that's where, that was ultimately what led me to artificial intelligence, was when I was doing insurance and I was having a bunch of those low-level conversations, and I said there has to be a better way to communicate with these people and kind of streamline my day-to-day operations.
Yeah.
And once I started implementing these tools and I started seeing, wow, these people are coming in so quick, or I'm just waking up with appointments booked on my schedule. This is very
yeah.
cool. This is very cool. So I decided to go all in on the artificial intelligence side, and then all of a sudden it occurred to me, you could do this as a business. You could do this to actually help people who don't understand it, because I like everybody else during COVID was bored in the house.
Yeah.
I was bored. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with myself. And that's when I just started learning more and more about AI, more and more about trying to, because, geez, we had so many people reaching out during COVID about life insurance.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I just couldn't manage all of the new people or keep it organized or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And that was ultimately what led me kind of down the AI rabbit hole. And I realized, wow, there's so many different services. Some of them are straight up gimmicks. Some of them are the real deal that could help you run your business. And my goal now is just to help business owners decipher between what you need, what you don't,
Right.
and how we can use it effectively to drive more revenue to your business.
Yeah, and on that note, like, people might think it's a gimmick, or they might not know which one do I need, how do I use this. And when you were talking, it made me think, like, marketing agencies have been around forever. There's even in Cleveland, I can name at least 10 different marketing agencies that are hired to make radio commercials or TV commercials or do these billboards and all of these. You're hiring somebody to give you a consultation of what kind of marketing you need. But I think those days are kind of gone, and this is the new wave, which is plug new wave on marketing, and the new take on marketing. So it's, you either go forward with it or you get left behind.
Yeah.
And we always kind of initially compared it to, again, in the real estate industry, and I'm sure it's very similar with literally every industry. But when a lot of people that are still realtors started in the industry, that you would want to see a house, you have to look through a book of the listings that are. Could you imagine if we still did that?
No.
And if you couldn't just go on the internet or wake up every morning to digitally all the houses that are for sale in your area or where you're looking.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're still working off of that book, you're probably not in the industry anymore. We got to move ahead with the times.
Exactly.
And this is where we're at with the times.
I remember, I'm old enough to remember, and you are too. There was a point in time when the internet was a gimmick. People didn't believe that the internet was real. People didn't believe that it could actually be used as a viable communication tool or anything like that. And people were just kind of, it's just that thing. People get on there, it makes a bunch of weird noises. You remember the AOL startup sound?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, it's like seared into my brain. But they slept on the power of the internet, and the people who saw what the internet could offer, those are the businesses that are still around and still thriving today.
Right.
But the ones who didn't leverage the internet, they fell by the wayside. We can't find them.
Yeah.
No one knows who they are anymore. And simply put, the internet was one of the greatest communication tools that we've ever created. And artificial intelligence, in my opinion, there was the internet. Then the next metamorphosis of that was social media. Social media came next, where it's like, wow, we're connecting with people in a different way, and on a totally different landscape. I can talk to somebody who has the exact same interests as me, but they're all the way across the United States.
Right.
That's very interesting. So social media was the next metamorphosis of the internet, and then artificial intelligence. My belief is that it's literally the next revolution. It is the next metamorphosis, where it's going to change the way that jobs are done. It's going to change the way that the internet functions. It's going to change the way that we communicate. It's going to change the way that we do business. It's going to change behavior. Have you ever talked to a Gen Z person? They have zero patience.
Yeah. Right.
They have zero patience. So imagine Gen Z trying to buy a house one day.
Yeah.
So if they didn't get some sort of text or email or immediate thing after they filled out your form online, they're like, what the heck?
Yeah,
You know,
right.
no
They
one,
need it now.
no one ever
Now.
called me.
Yeah,
No one ever
right.
texted me. No
Yeah.
one ever sent me this, because they're expecting that now.
Right.
Because that's the way that things are moving. So artificial intelligence is essentially training human behavior and teaching us what to expect from businesses and services.
Right.
So the companies that embrace this now will be able to ride that wave into the future and be at the forefront, whereas the people who think it's a gimmick and then will realize very late that it's not, will be so far behind that they won't even be able to gain any market share, because somebody who implemented AI is crushing them.
Right. Well, and I mean, you said a couple really great things. First, that it's going to change the way jobs are done. And that's the big scare, is that it's going to take the job. But it's not. I think the cool part, if you look at it in a different light, is that imagine if you take your VA or your assistant or your receptionist and you restructure their position to doing more actual valuable things rather than sending those text messages or emails and setting up the email. And I can't tell you how many times I've gone down the rabbit hole of creating emails, and then I'm like, oh, but wait, I like it the way it looks like this better. After I just went like, why does that matter? It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
So that, and staying ahead of the curve of everything. The people who slept on social media or on the internet, you touched on the people that didn't take advantage of the internet were left behind. But same thing with social media. You know, when TikTok came out a couple years ago, it was like, no, take
Everybody
this
thought it was a kid's app,
seriously.
yeah.
Like take this seriously, this social media. And I'll say I am not on TikTok, but it's like that is such a big platform that it is a new thing.
You can't
and
ignore it. You
exactly.
shouldn't ignore
I mean,
it.
I have it on my phone. Yeah. I don't TikTok myself, but I get them sent to me and everything.
dance moves?
Yeah, right. Yeah, not me, but But it's like those people who didn't, even Instagram or Facebook, it's like if you're not taking advantage, that's the new way of staying in front of people. And if you're not taking advantage of that, then you look back and you're like, oh man,
I missed that
I missed that opportunity, which it's not true. There's always time to get started, but you know, you probably are kicking yourself because you wish you would have started when you could have years ago and been in a different position today.
One of my favorite examples that I like to explain to people, I'm a history buff, I'm a nerd.
Okay.
And I remember reading about the Industrial Revolution. So when the Industrial Revolution happened, that was an idea of AI, right? Because we've now bought in machines that were doing all of the manufacturing and work that the humans were doing. But there was still need for humans to work the machines.
Right.
Right.
I love that.
So it's really just a matter of you're only going to be left behind if you choose not to adapt.
Right.
Right. There were a lot of people that were like, that machine took my job. And it's like, well, you know, you had to ask yourself, if anyone in the world could put caps on bottles, if anyone in the world could put a cap on a bottle, how valuable is your actual job?
Right.
It's not in that sense. So replacing it with a machine isn't that crazy.
Yeah.
But if you're the person who understands, oh, let me make sure that the machine is working and functional so that when it puts the caps on the bottles, it's correct.
I love that. Yeah, that's awesome.
And that's
Great analogy.
ultimately what we're going to be able to do for your business is say, hey, we know that you need to send all these text messages. We know that you need to send all these emails. We know that you need to put up a blog or do some social media stuff or things like that. We will streamline all of this for you. All you have to do is provide us with just this much stuff so that we can make the machine run.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, I think we'll wrap it up. That was amazing. So much information. I'm really looking forward to hearing you. January 25th at Icon Cowork. We are going to have Charles here. He's going to be going over everything that you need to be doing to future-proof your business. And as you can see, he's a wealth of knowledge and willing to share it with everybody. People don't like change. I just thought of this when you were talking. People don't like change. But I think we can agree that everyone likes money. Whether your goal is to be the richest person in the world or not, we all need money to survive. And I think we're going to see a lot of changes in 2024. It's an election year. Obviously, interest rates are dropping. Inflation has become a thing over the last year. So we're going to see a lot of changes. And it's really important that you are setting your business up for success. And just so that you are still in the...
There's ups and downs.
Yeah.
You're going to go through ups and downs when it comes to business. That's just the nature of how this beast works. Nobody's going to stay on top crushing it all the time. Right? But if you can weather the storm by adapting and see that people don't want to change. I'm not asking you to change. I'm asking you to adapt. Awesome. Because change in my brain would imply like you have a choice.
Yeah, right.
Adapting is saying, wow, the whole landscape of what I was doing is changing. And if I still want to be engaged in this, I need to adapt and overcome.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you, Charles.
Thank
we look
you.
forward to January here at Icon.